The AFCON player release date has been confirmed. Sarr and Bissouma will be leaving for the Africa Cup of Nations by the 15th of December. Reports in Italy are stating that Antonio Conte and Napoli want to sign Spurs star Dejan Kulusevski in the January transfer window. Reports are stating that Spurs are off to play Chelsea and A-League All-Stars in pre-season in July 2026. The Premier League have stated that Richarlison and Vicario are up for awards, and Thomas Frank in his press conference ahead of the Brentford game has said, "I'm so pleased for Sonny to come back and get the well-deserved celebration for everything that he has done for this football club." And Frank has also stated he will celebrate against Brentford if Spurs score at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday, and he has stated there is no fresh update on Solanke and Kulusevski. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. This is another edition of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So let's start by talking about Thomas Frank's press conference on Thursday, of course, ahead of the Tottenham v Brentford game on Saturday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 3 p.m. kickoff. Now, Tottenham boss Thomas Frank on the team news ahead of the game, he said everyone from the game against Newcastle should be okay. He was also asked about, is there a fresh update on Solanke and Kulusevski? His reply was no. When they are ready to be close to joining the squad, I will then provide an update. Thomas Frank was asked, will he celebrate if Spurs score against Brentford? His reply was, yes, I will. He was also asked about Heung-min Son's return on Tuesday when Spurs face Slavia Prague in the Champions League. Frank said, I'm so pleased for Sonny to come back here and get the well-deserved celebration for everything that he has done for the club. It was a good send-off in South Korea, so on Tuesday, we will applaud him. On Thursday, it was announced by the Premier League that Richarlison has been nominated for the Premier League's Guinness Goal of the Month award for November. The Brazil international's superb long-range lob against Arsenal is one of 8 strikes shortlisted across last month. The Premier League have also stated that Spurs goalkeeper Vicario has been shortlisted for the Premier League Save of the Month award for the second consecutive month after his late stop to deny Chelsea's João Pedro on the 1st of November. Now, AFCON release date has been confirmed. The release date for players to leave their respective clubs to join up for the Africa Cup of Nations has been confirmed. The competition gets underway on the 21st of December and players will be released from their clubs by the 15th of December. Tottenham are set to have 2 stars feature in the tournament, those being Pape Matar Sarr for Senegal and Yves Bissouma for Mali. Now, there has been a number of Spurs fans online stating that Mohamed Kudus will be going off on international duty with Ghana at the Africa Cup of Nations, but he won't be. He will be staying at Spurs because Ghana did not qualify for this competition. Now, reports in Italy are stating that Tottenham Hotspur star Dejan Kulusevski is currently being considered as a dream signing for Napoli and former Spurs boss Antonio Conte. According to Area Napoli, they have reported that Antonio Conte and Director of Football Giovanni Manna are working on a possible deal for the Tottenham Hotspur star. They explain that Napoli are going through something of an emergency in midfield, and as a result, they want to find a solution in the January transfer window. Several names are on their shortlist, including Dejan Kulusevski. Now, after Thomas Frank's press conference on Thursday afternoon, and by the way, the embargoed section will be released on Friday evening at 10:30pm UK time. Now, the Evening Standard have predicted Thomas Frank's starting 11 against Brentford on Saturday. This is what they think. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall, Kudus, Simmons and Kolo Muani. Now, the Tottenham Hotspur women will be in action on Sunday afternoon, 12 noon kickoff as Tottenham host Aston Villa. Spurs are currently 5th in the WSL table, 16 points from the opening 9 games, whilst Aston Villa are down in 8th, 10 points from the opening 8 games. Now, a little bit more Spurs Women news. The date and kick-off time for our Subway Women's League Cup quarter-final tie against Manchester United at Leigh Sports Village has now been confirmed. The tie will take place on Sunday, the 21st of December. Kick-off time will be 1pm UK time, and the match will be televised on Barclays Women's Super League official YouTube channel. Now, reports in Australia are stating that Tottenham Hotspur could be off to Australia in the summer, in July 2026, as part of our pre-season friendly plans and preparations for the 2026-2027 Premier League campaign. Now, reports in Australia are stating that Chelsea, as well as their bitter England Premier League rivals Tottenham, are believed to have been approached to take on Sydney FC and Western Sydney Wanderers A-League men's sides. Now, I've also been told by a number of reliable sources that Spurs will in fact play at least 2 games in Sydney, Australia as part of our pre-season plans for the summer of 2026. Of course, these games will take place after the World Cup in the US and before the 26-27 Premier League campaign. Now, it is believed that Spurs will be facing London rivals Chelsea in one game and an Australian A-League All-Stars in another game. Now, the club have just announced that the under-18s will host Brighton Hove Albion in the 3rd round of the FA Youth Cup at the Lameck Stadium, of course, the home of Stevenage Football Club, on Tuesday, the 16th of December, kick-off time 7pm. Tickets are available on the Stevenage website. They can also be purchased on the turnstiles on the night. Both teams, along with all clubs from the Premier League and the Championship, enter the tournament at this stage. Should the tie be level after 90 minutes, extra time and penalties will be played to determine who advances to round 4. Further to this, the under-18s Premier League fixture at home to Aston Villa, previously scheduled for Saturday the 13th of December, has been postponed with a new date to be confirmed in due course. Additionally, we have also been drawn away to Bristol City in the quarter-finals of the Under-18 Premier League Cup. Details on the scheduling of this match will be confirmed at a later date. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about Thomas Frank's press conference on Thursday at Hotspur Way ahead of this Brentford game, which of course takes place on Saturday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 3pm kickoff. Which is a must-win, by the way. The home record for us is not good enough. 3.5 months without a home win, and that was against Burnley on the opening weekend of the season. Anyway, Thomas Frank has confirmed the team news. He has stated that everyone who was available for the Newcastle game should be ready. This is positive news, and the great thing is as well that Thomas Frank is getting his players back. However, Solanke and Kulusevski remain out. And he has stated again, when they're ready to be close to joining the squad, then I will provide an update. I do find this situation with Dominic Solanke a bit odd, I must say. We all expected him to be back, and we are really missing Dominic Solanke up top, in my opinion. He is a starter. He is another option, a really good option. And it's funny because before the Arsenal game, before the international break, one of the journalists in the press conference asked about Dominic Solanke. Would he be back soon? And, would he feature against Arsenal? And Thomas Frank sat there and thought about it and said, well, if he does come back, would he be able to start? And Thomas Frank said, no, he'd probably come off the bench. And now all of a sudden, hasn't been available for any of these games. And what we're on now, the 4th of December, we've got games coming thick and fast, and we could really do with that option up top, Dominic Solanke. Kulusevski, Thomas Frank has said a number of times that he hopes that Kulusevski will be back in a Spurs shirt before the turn of the year, which of course is 27 days. So let's wait and see. We could really do with those attacking threats, in my opinion, in this squad. Heung-min Son, of course, is to return on Tuesday. I cannot wait to see Sonny smile. I'll tell you what, if we could, I'd even give him a shirt and just say, look, play one final game for us. I know that's not possible. I'm just saying, we could really do with someone on the left-hand side. And funny enough, Thomas Frank was actually asked about that position on the left-hand side, and Thomas Frank said it's up for competition. So it's now, what player is going to perform best in training, what player is going to take their chances when they get them, what player is going to grab that opportunity. But we are really lacking on that left-hand side, I must say. No one has grabbed that place in the first team to play on that left-hand side yet. And that is an area in the January transfer window where we really, really do need to go out and make that happen. Of course, Sky Sports stated on Tuesday that Spurs are intensifying talks about Antoine Semenyo. We know there is a release clause for January. I tell you what, if Spurs want to show real ambition in that January transfer window and really help the manager out, you've got to go out and sign players like this, because Spurs are struggling in that final third. We are struggling to create chances, and we need that bit of spark in the team at the moment. And we've got to go big. Thomas Frank in the press conference was also asked about would he celebrate against his former side Brentford. Of course, he was very complimentary about his former side. That's understandable. And it's also understandable that Thomas Frank will celebrate. I tell you what, I think everyone would be celebrating if we actually get a shot on target in the first half of a game. The last time we had a shot on target in the first half of a Premier League game was on the 1st of November, over a month ago. So we need to create chances. We need to score goals. That attacking threat needs to be so much better. I noticed that in the press conference as well on Thursday that Thomas Frank actually come out and said how many goals we'd scored and said that's a good amount of goals. But the lack of attacking intent in some of these Premier League games, particularly in the first halves, is not good enough. And quite frankly, a lot of people have called it really boring, and it has been. And I expect a lot more from this Tottenham Hotspur team. Anyway, let's go on to talking about Richarlison and Vicario. They are up for Premier League awards. Best of luck with both of those. Vicario has had a very mixed month. He's made some good saves. He's made a mistake. The fans have booed him. The fans have then cheered him at Newcastle, which was a good moment, because it's never nice seeing a player, booed, basically after that mistake that he made against Fulham, which was awful, by the way. But if you make a mistake in a game, I don't think you really need to be booed, because I tell you what, that would have been eating him up inside, and he would have known that he's made a glaring error that, of course, has been led to a goal. Richarlison, what a finish that was against Arsenal. It's just a shame that we didn't have any other attacking play apart from that goal, but what a finish it was. If we'd have won that game, I think people would have been going on about that goal for many, many years. Now, AFCON have released the dates for the Africa Cup of Nations for the players to go off with their respective teams. Of course, many people online today have stated, we're going to lose Mohamed Kudus, but of course Ghana didn't qualify, so I suppose that is a blessing for us that we do keep hold of our star man. I think it's fair to say that Kudus is our star man right now. Certainly attacking. Any attacking play we do have always comes from him. We will lose Yves Bissouma, which we haven't seen him in a Spurs shirt this season anyway, and we will lose Papa Matar, which I think that is a big loss for Spurs, although Thomas Frank hasn't played him or started him an awful lot recently. Now, reports in Italy are stating that Napoli want to sign Dejan Kulusevski, and the report has stated that Napoli have tried to sign him on a number of occasions, but haven't been able to. Spurs, like I always mention about ambition transfer windows, we don't want to be losing players. If anything, we want to be signing players, and you certainly don't want to be losing a player like Kulusevski. You know, we need him in this team. So when he does eventually come back, I'm sure Thomas Frank will use him a lot, because we need that attacking flair. We need that killer pass. We need the goals that he can score as well, because so many goals and so many assists have been taken out of this team. So you don't want to be losing quality like Dejan Kulusevski in a transfer window. So like I've said before, you know, this new look board, you know, I know it's the same owners, so to speak, but they've come out and actually said we want to be ambitious and we want to win trophies on a regular basis, and we want to compete on all fronts. If we want to do that, we're not going to be selling players like Dejan Kulusevski. If anything, you want to add to the quality of the squad. It's also been reported as well, and I've also been told by a number of reliable sources that Spurs are off to Australia. Of course, you know, we sack Ange Postecoglou, and then the very next summer we're back in Australia for a couple of friendlies. But it looks like we're going to be facing Chelsea and A-League All-Stars in Sydney. So you know, the Australian Spurs fans will absolutely love that, and they will be absolutely thrilled with that. Kota Takai as well played 45 minutes in a behind closed doors friendly, a Hotspur way, in the last 24 hours. Great for him. And like I said at the very start, it's great that Thomas Frank is slowly getting all of these players back. Yes, the key players for us, Solanke, Kulusevski, James Maddison, you know, you'd expect Kulusevski and Solanke back certainly by the end of this year. James Maddison, it looks like he's going to miss the entire season. But, you know, player by player, you know, week by week, month by month, it seems that things are more positive in terms of Thomas Frank getting his squad assembled and getting injured players back. Now, let me just talk very quickly about the Newcastle game. I was very disappointed in that first half again, failing to have a shot on target in the opening 45 minutes. Again, that is not good enough. This game against Brentford on Saturday is an absolute must-win. We have got to give it attacking intent, especially at home. We haven't won there at home for 3.5 months in the Premier League, and a win is desperately needed. Entertaining football is desperately needed at the Tottenham Stadium as well. And honestly, I will have everything crossed on Saturday that Thomas Frank delivers, these players deliver, and the Spurs fans have a smile on our faces, because we really need it right now. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe and well. Keep smiling. Come on, you Spurs.